some peace of mind. But TikTok said a gator drove a Jeep through the blinds. Florida man's at it again with fireworks and a goat. And someone married a ghost in a Dollar Tree coat. Hey, what in the Walmart rapture is going on? Aliens dancing in a Waffle House song. Karen's got a taser in the checkout line. And Dr. Oz just adopted birds to fight off crime. I'm just sitting here scrolling my jaw on the floor. The internet's a circus and I can't take no more. Yeah, when it's wildin', there's a raccoon in the sink. Someone robbed a Wendy's just to steal a frosty drink. A pastor's gone viral yelling about the end is near, while folks ride hoverboards and wedding gear. Yeah, what in the Walmart rapture is this mess? Florida's a movie, but it's filmed in VHS. Someone fed meth to a squirrel named Dave, and now he's in a cage just throwing rave. I'm just
Happy Thursday, everyone. It is a great day. It is the new and improved date night, so I will probably not be on much beyond Mornings with Mo today because on balance, Mr. Mo needs to be able to make noise, and I would like to have the toilet back together, or at least fixed-ish. Like, he didn't explain like the constructionology behind it, but he needed to make noise. So, good morning. Thank you, Wolfram, for doing your modly mod duties as always. Welcome, Heidel, and Super T, and Tammy CA, M Spire, and Audio Coffee. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, Lurking Meowth, and Audio Coffee. Welcome, everyone. So our first story is a big one, and I will straight away tell you guys that we are just getting the very early stories in on this particular incident. So there will probably be a bit of an update tomorrow, Friday, even though it's a fun day, or I'll do a separate video because we are just learning the very tip of the iceberg as far as the Fort Stewart mass shooting attack that happened yesterday. Now, suspect Cornelius Radford was subdued by quick-thinking soldiers who halted the attack, but there still was a mass incident that happened in an army base. So the army sergeant accused of opening fire at Georgia's Fort Stewart base and wounding 5 fellow soldiers was subdued by fellow quick-thinking service members soon after the bullets started flying. Soldiers who witnessed the shooting immediately and without hesitation tackled the shooter so he could be brought to custody. Brigadier General John Lubas told reporters outside the base on Wednesday afternoon, just hours after the gunfire had erupted. Now, what motivated the shooter, identified as 28-year-old Sergeant Cornelius Radford, to commit this heinous act has not been immediately revealed or is not known at the time of this article coming out. What we do know is that the shooting occurred at the soldier's place of work and did involve his co-workers. We're not sure of the motivations, but he's been interviewed by Army investigators, and we believe we'll get more information shortly. Now, Lubis said that Radford used a personal handgun in the attack, which left 5 soldiers stationed at the sprawling base wounded, 3 of whom required surgical intervention. Now, all 5 victims were in stable condition and are expected to recover. Now, little is immediately known about Radford, 28, who Lubis said was never deployed to combat and has not ever had any known disciplinary issues. He was described as an automated logistics sergeant assigned to the 2nd Brigade Combat Team at Fort Stewart. We're going to have to determine how he was able to get, a personal firearm to his place of duty. For those of you who don't know, Army bases are kind of like their own little city, but you, in order to get onto a base, have to show ID, and they are able to search your car even as a service member, and you're not supposed to have your own personal firearms. You're not supposed to have your own personal weapons. Again, I failed basic though, so that's about all I really know of the entire, kind of logistics. But I do know having your own personal weapon is considered a big no-no. That being said, we're going to have to wait for answers. Now, Lubis said officials were looking into reports that Radford had allegedly gotten a DUI charge in May, but that incident was not known to his chain of command until they start looking at police records following the shooting. So while he was probably up for the Uniformed Code of Military Justice is probably also going to either dock his pay or demote him. You can get in trouble for civilian crimes that you do have. So he was probably looking at being demoted, docked in pay, and possible time in a military prison as well, depending on, what the Uniform Code of Military Justice wanted to do when they found out about the DUI. But as of what we're hearing from this article, at least, his chain of command had no idea about the DUI. So he was not, it wasn't even on their radar. Now, Radford is currently in pretrial confinement and is awaiting a charging decision by the Office of Special Trial Counsel. And J.K. Buck is right, the UCMJ. In our next story, and this pisses me off to no daggone end because this man should know better. Mother of the Long Island young lady or young girl who was told to shut the F up by a fire chief in viral video says that he failed her. Yeah, he was a schmuck to a kid who was terrified. Like, sir, I don't know what about your life is going to change after all of this comes out and this has gone viral, but maybe possibly not being a dick your entire life would be helpful. Now, the mother of an emotionally distressed 10-year-old girl, whom a Long Island fire chief told to shut the F up as she was being loaded into an ambulance, says that first responder failed her daughter. North Babylon Volunteer Fire Company Chief Peter Alt sparked outrage when he was captured in a now viral video berating the upset child during an emergency call in West Babylon. He was supposed to protect her and help her, not verbally abuse her, the girl's mother, who wished not to be named, told Newsday on Wednesday. The mother now fears that her daughter will lose faith in both police and fire departments and has been left scarred over the incident. He failed her, she said. At no point should a child or a human be spoken like that to, ever. The fire chief was heard shouting, "Shut the F up. It's like this with you every effing week," at the girl who was crying, "I don't want to go, I want to go home," while she was being loaded into the ambulance. "Shut your mouth," Alt angrily replied as the ambulance door closed. Now, Alt is a 22-year veteran of the company, and he was stripped of his duties on August 5th while an investigation was launched. I mean, how shit do you have to be stripped of your duties at a volunteer fire department? I mean, make that make sense. But make it make sense that you're going to yell at a child who is obviously distressed. You're supposed to be the adult. We do hold you to a higher standard because you're the one that chose and continued to choose for 22 years to run toward the danger. So I don't get where you unfortunately can't, have a bad day in those type of jobs. You can't have an off day. And it's a lot to ask people. And I'm not saying first responders have an easy job in the least. No, they have to deal with trauma and, scenes that we never would want to have to see. But then we need to invest more in their mental health so they can deal with this stuff. And they don't have days like this where they take whatever out on a child or on a person they're supposed to be helping. Now, the fire company does not condone this type of behavior and does deem it unacceptable, the company's executive board said in a statement. The viral video has garnered over 4.5 million views on TikTok. Now, the child's grandmother told NBC New York that her daughter had called the police after she had taken away the child's phone, causing her to become emotionally distressed. Now, the child's grandmother said that the girl had since secluded herself in the home and didn't want to go to school. She has anxiety and she'll need therapy, the grandmother, who was not wished to be named, told Newsday. Now, the grandmother questioned if, there were anything else behind, any other motives behind how he was treated. However, hearing more of the story, if she was let let my mom have to call the police because she took away my phone, y'all, this would not happen. Like, former latchkey kids know that I mean, we knew that, like, if our mom called because we were acting crazy, like, the cops were not there to protect us from our parents. So on balance, all of them need to take a look at themselves. Now, the family has called first responders in the past for the fifth grader, but personnel were always understanding, or so the grandmother has claimed. Now, officers with the Suffolk County Police Department were also on scene during Wednesday's incident. So if the situation were to the point where police officers were also on scene, yeah, let my mom have to call the cops on me. This is not going to go well for Mo. I'd still be in a coma today, y'all. Now, they said, and some online have called for an investigation into how the police, just stood by as Alt was yelling at the child. Now, the department stated that officers at the scene had reported to the incident, to their supervisor, and internal affairs was also notified. So, it's all going to become a big ordeal. I don't expect this gentleman to have a job very much longer, even if it was a volunteer position. I doubt that this is going to ever, be able to live down. But if she was acting this out of control because you took her phone, then she's obviously not been given consequences, or there is something much more in depth that needs to be taken care of. Because no. Now, in pop culture kind of news, I didn't realize that Kelly Clarkson was doing a residency in Vegas, but she has postponed her Vegas residency yet again. But she is now giving some answers that might clear up why she's been either on hiatus or kind of taking a personal step back for a while. Unfortunately, I need to postpone the remainder of the August studio session dates in Las Vegas. While I normally keep my personal life private, this past year, my children's father has been ill, and at the moment, I need to be fully present for them. I'm sincerely sorry to whoever bought tickets to the shows, and I appreciate your grace, kindness, and understanding. That being said, it's not the same thing. I am not even trying to say I am like Kelly Clarkson, but you guys are always so kind and understanding when mom duty or CRPS life has me rearranging things. So I do hope that, she is able to take this time away, deal with her family stuff, and be there for her family. Family comes first. I don't care if you're a Kardashian or a Clarkson. I can get behind, people putting their family first. I mean, we lost Rick Moranis, but his kids gained, a really great dad. And who can be upset about that? Now, in two stories that I believe might be signs of the end time, but I will have to look at the book of Revelation to be honest with you. But just in case, let's call upon final form Jesus, because I don't know that we're ready for either of these two things to be a reality.
The key keep its grove, thou glowing shrine of thirst traps, scams, and dollar signs. We chant in tones both grim and low, for virtue fled a long time ago. Kyrie eleison, Christe descendat, final form Jesus return in wrath. With six-pack glistening, sword in hand, he cometh swift to cleanse the land.
Now, the greatest shock to me about this headline is that Kevin Federline knows how to write, but it probably will be a damn sight better than Spare, and Prince Harry had that ghost written, so there you go. If you had wondered what was behind K-Fed and the K-Fed revolution, well, Kevin Federline has promised to answer your deepest personal questions in his new memoir, You Thought You Knew. What in the name of all that is unholy? Again, I'm just shocked he can read. Kevin Federline is ready to tell his story. Please let it be a pop-up book. Federline, the dancer and DJ who rose to fame after marrying Britney Spears, is set to release a new memoir titled You Thought You Knew. No, it was I Wish I Didn't Know What You Did That One Summer. That's what your book should be. Or Why the Hell Did Britney Shave Her Hair? I'm pretty sure you're a big part of it, you douche canoe. It's going to have pictures. Oh, dear God, it's in audiobooks too. It's going to arrive on October 21st via a new audio imprint, Listen, spelled or Listenin with no G. Drop the G for K-Fed. The book is extremely intimate and transparent. Ooh. I achieved my biggest dreams, dealt with crushing heartbreak, and endured constant ridicule, all while becoming a father that my children needed as they experienced nonstop emotional turbulence, Federline said. If you ever had questions, you'll find answers here. Yeah, but not about this. Never about you, K-Fed, did I ever have any questions. Now, the memoir promises to deliver the story of fame, fatherhood, and the private cost of public life from one of pop culture's most misunderstood figures. You're not the Rosa Parks of husbands who married a rich chick. What the hell, dude? You're not some patron saint of douchebag. Well, I mean, maybe, but I don't feel sorry for you is what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't need to hear about your struggles. That being said, if he named it My Struggle, it would have been hilarious to me, but for very dark reasons. Now, Kevin, 47, was married to Spears from 2004 to 2007, and they share sons Sean Preston, 19, and Jaden James, 18. Now, he's also the daughter to Corey, 23, and son Caleb, 21, with ex Shar Jackson. Now, he married Victoria Prince in 2008, and they shared daughters Jordan and Peyton. Wait, let me do the counting here. Math tabulations. He's got one more than me. He wins. Now, the release describes the book as a deeply personal and emotionally grounded, memoir, and says it marks the first time Federline has spoken about the events and relationships that shaped him. You Thought You Knew will cover everything from his working-class childhood, which included a move from Fresno, California to Nevada after his parents divorced, to marrying, Britney Spears. Again, I am just shocked his life has all those chapters. In addition to career moments like dancing with stars like Beyonce and Michael Jackson, the memoir will cover Federline's marriage and divorce to Spears, as well as the fallout from their split and how he learned to protect his children from the glaring spotlight. The memoir is debuted to release from Listenin', a new audio first-telling imprint from Barracuda Baby Productions. We're proud to have Kevin as one of our first 3 books we're launching in Listenin'. Oh, God. Who are the next two? Kevin Spacey and Dr. Seuss? Hop on Pop, the, 50 Shades of Dr. Seuss. Honestly, I am pretty sure I didn't know that he even knew how to read. So congratulations, Kevin. Hey, as a dyslexic twice college dropout, Hooked on Phonics sort of worked for me too, Kevin. Now this next one, I don't know about y'all, but I'm making everyone do this at Dollywood because, well, I may not be talented, I may not have rhythm, but true crime and dancing? I mean, who says no to this? Apparently, a choreographer has turned the Law and Order theme into a viral dance craze and has even gotten star Mariska Hargitay to dance to it. So let me see if I can get this to actually play. You won't be able to hear the sound because it's copyrighted, but this perfectly matches the Law and Order, little stinger thing. And if y'all don't think I'm making everyone do this at Dollywood, I mean, it's going to take me this entire year to get rhythm right. But if y'all don't think I'm making you do the Law and Order shuffle at Dollywood, this is so going down for real. Like I told Expert, I was like, look, I'm going to need the full year to train, but this is happening. I will make this happen. I will make fetch happen. Choreographer Stephen Van never thought that his dance moves set to the iconic Law and Order SUV or SVU. I always do SUV, which is, I think, a new thing that Subaru is making, the Law and Order edition, because I'd buy the hell out of that Subaru. I'm just telling you. That being said, it's SVU and it's gone viral, but it unexpectedly caught the attention of the right people. Series stars, both Mariska Hargitay and Kelly Giddish, were seen, enthusiastically mimicking his dance moves in their own recent viral clip. I was jumping up and down for joy, Van told the Post after seeing the actors shimmying to the beat together as a special dance unit, with Hargitay even doing a deep kneed bend, air guitar in the process. So there you go. Again, like I said, y'all, this is happening. It's going down for real at Dollywood. When I saw her like really get into it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is something. I'm just doing a little silly dance that I made up off the top of my head, he said of their Instagram post, which has received likes and comments from other celebrities, including Olivia Munn, Jay Ellis, Christy Teigen, and Broadway star Kristen Chenoweth. I wanted to do something that people who really didn't expect me to dance to, the Cleveland-based TikTok creator told the Post, adding he was inspired to try the long-running drama series music because whenever I'm at dance battles, this is one that a DJ always plays, so I thought that was pretty funny. After filming the clip, Van chuckled a little, but didn't think it was like all that hilarious. But for some reason, Van was wrong. This has taken, the internet by storm and has been viewed on TikTok by nearly 3 million people and garnered tens of thousands of delighted comments. Even the WNBA's New York Liberty mascot, Ellie the Elephant, and famed Savannah's Banana Baseball Club performed to it at recent games. The fact that people are enjoying it and seeing it has made me really happy. So there you go. I mean, like I said, we're doing this. It's going down. We are doing this live come Dollywood. It's just going to go. And like I said, I'm going to need the entire year to practice, cuz I'm definitely the background dancer in the back that's a beat off and a day late. But there y'all go. See, I like it. It is awesome sauce flux. We are totally doing, but I have no rhythm and no timing. So like I said, this is going to be a year-long endeavor. I'll just do TikToks of me breaking it down and failing dramatically at it. But it just made my day when I saw this, and I figured it would make you guys' day too. So definitely wanted to share those stories. In apparently life imitating a Nora Roberts book, also a movie from Lifetime based on a Nora Roberts book that broke up a marriage. Yeah, I'm looking at you, little, oh gosh, Eddie Sebring or whatever his name is, and oh God, Leanne Rhymes. I'm looking at you. The body of a missing father was found perfectly intact inside a glacier in Pakistan nearly 28 years after he disappeared. Well, I mean, at least he was going to come back after the milk and cigarettes run. He just lost at playing hide and seek. The body of a father who disappeared 28 years ago during a trip through a remote Pakistani pass to escape a volatile family feud was found perfectly intact inside a glacier last Friday. Now, the man's name was Nasaruddin, and according to an undamaged identification card, also found perfectly preserved after the, glacier that he was stuck in was excavated. What I saw was unbelievable. The body was perfectly preserved. The clothes weren't even torn. Omar Khan, a local shepherd who found the remains, told the outlet. Police were miraculously able to use a sample to link the body back to the married father of two who was thought to have disappeared in the mountainous Kazakhstan region during June of 1997. Now, authorities had presumed that he must have slid through a crack and fallen into an iceberg while taking shelter in a cave during a thick snowstorm. Yikes. Now, the Kazakhstan region is located in a remote part of northern Pakistan that's closer to the Afghanistan border and used to seeing more consistent snowfall, but rising temperatures actually spurred glacial melt, exposing long hidden remains and making a way for his case to finally be solved. Now, at the time of his disappearance, he was traveling with his brother, Kasaruddin, on horseback through the region after an increasingly violent feud with their family forced them to leave home and live in hiding. The duo had only just arrived in the valley the day that Nasaruddin went missing. He had ducked into the cave sometime in the afternoon to try to evade attackers and never came back out. Now, the dutiful brother rushed to get help and scoured the area for his brother, but he never found him. Now, Kasaruddin is returning to the valley to collect his brother's remains, and he will either bury Nasaruddin out in the mountains or return him to their ancestral home. Is that going to start another feud? Like, I hope the family's okay now that we've, you lost a family member to a damn glacier because he couldn't have just like a conversation. Now, due to lack of oxygen inside the glacier and combined with the extreme cold and low humidity, it created the perfect condition to practically mummify his body and protect it from the elements. Well, I am very glad that this family now has answers, and I hope they've healed whatever rift so we don't have, another person hiding out amongst glaciers. Now, I don't even know where to begin with this story that needs, these people that need to see Lord Chippy. But this first story, I swear to you, you guys have no idea how angry these stories make me. So I need y'all to be angry too so we can get something done and get something changed. Because something needs to happen to protect our children out in this country. And we can affect, change and actually, create departments that are fit for purpose, in theory.
They're our skin, they steal our grace. These monsters wear a human face. No gavel, no badge, no throne, no crown can stop Lord Chippy from burning them down. Justice ain't fast, justice ain't clean. It's a long, sharp road through the in-between. So raise your fists and light your flames. Chippy's coming and he don't play games.
Of course, after that setup, I couldn't find the story that I needed, but we are seeing a lot more of these stories too, and this is just as dangerous as any drunk driver, even more so with the amount of people and patients' outcomes that they can interact with and affect. An imposter nurse was arrested after seeing nearly 4,000 patients without a license, the most disturbing case of medical fraud. An imposter nurse, yes, a phone nurse, was arrested after treating over 4,000 patients at a Florida hospital without any medical license in a 2-year scam that staffers only discovered when she was up for a promotion. What in the actual effery? Now, Autumn Bardizia 29, was arrested Tuesday after allegedly treating over 4,486 individuals since, starting work in July 2023 at Advent Health Palm Coast Parkway while lying about being a registered nurse, the Flagler County Sheriff's Office said. This is one of the most disturbing cases of medical fraud we've ever investigated, Sheriff Rick Stately said in a statement. This woman potentially put thousands of lives at risk by pretending to be someone she's not. Authorities began investigating Autumn in January after hospital administrators fired her for allegedly impersonating a registered nurse. I impersonate a functional human being all the time, but you don't need to be licensed for that. And I'm not giving out medications or, affecting other people because I don't leave my house. That being said, now the accused scrub-wearing con artist used a former classmate's medical license number and a false documentation to get a job as an advanced nursing technician. Now, when she applied for a position at Advent Healthcare in 2023, Autumn indicated that she had passed the required schooling to become a registered nurse, but had not yet passed the national exam to get her license. Later, the sham nurse told supervisors that she had passed the exam and even provided a license number that matched her first name, Autumn, but had a different last name attached to it. Now, she explained the, suspicious discrepancy by saying she had recently gotten married and changed her last name, but never was asked to, or never was able to produce a marriage license when she was asked to do so. I mean, why are you looking confused, ma'am? You had to know this was going to happen at some point. Now, when Autumn received a promotion at the hospital in January, a fellow employee learned that she only had an expired nursing's assistant license, triggering a workplace investigation into Autumn's identity. Now, the hospital fired her on January 22nd, 2025, after she still refused to hand over either a marriage certificate matching the last name on her license or, proof that she had a functional license. Now, cops later discovered the nursing license matched the name of someone Autumn had attended school with, though the two didn't really know each other. Now, Autumn was arrested at her home and charged with 7 counts of practicing a healthcare profession without a license and 7 counts of fraudulent use of personal identification. Now, she is currently being held on a $70,000 bond. Florida, watch out. Like in the one state you don't want this to happen, it's Florida, with a state that's already infested with Florida man. Now you've got Florida not nurse. You've got, Autumn, not Florida or not medical woman. What in the hell is going on? Y'all, again, if this is not in the final chapter of Revelation, I don't know what's going on in the world today. Well, he might have seen the Karen Reed case, but he kind of went out it all cockeyed and he's going to prison for a long time. A doctor smothered his wife with a pillow and blamed the family dog for the injuries he suffered as she fought for her life. So he tried to pull it was totally the dog that scratched me. It wasn't my wife as I was smothering her. This is what happens when you don't have Alan Jackson. A Florida doctor is heading to prison after he took the life of his wife by smothering her with a pillow, then claimed that the injuries he suffered during the attack were from playing with the family dog. Okay, Chandler Halderson, sure. Dr. Thomas Wenzel, 72, pled no contest to second-degree murder in the death of his wife, Linda Wenzel, in their home in Windermere, a wealthy Orlando suburb. Now, on Tuesday, a judge sentenced the disgraced doctor to 12 years in prison. Now, that number is probably with the acknowledgement that he is 72 years old and going to Florida prison. Now, police responded to the home on December the 2nd and found Linda dead in the master bedroom, lying on her back. Now, detectives deemed her husband's statements inconsistent with what they were seeing on the scene. They also noted that, the husband had cuts, bruises, and abrasions on his face, neck, and arms. When asked to kind of explain how all of these facial and necular and handular injuries went and came from, he claimed that he was playing with the family dog, and that's what happens, as you do. Now, however, 3 days later, when cops responded to Thomas's office for reports of, well, threats of self-deletion, according to a court document, officers took him to the police station for an interview. And after being read his Miranda rights, he admitted to taking the life of his wife by suffocating her with a pillow. He stated he and his wife were the only people in the home at the time, and he had spontaneously reacted to an argument that had ensued during the night. Now, Thomas was taken into custody and has been at the Orange County Jail ever since. Now, neighbors at the time of the murder said the couple were known to fight. It's a very quiet community, one neighbor told ABC affiliate WFTV. Only arguments I've ever heard came out of that house. So I'm glad that her family got the justice and answers that they needed, and he wasn't able to besmirch a good puppy's name. This man was trying to lie on the dog. He was trying to pull a Shaggy defense and blame Snoopy. This is not going to fly, even in Florida. And now I remember where I put the story I was all pissed off at to begin with. This one. Look, there is nothing that I hate more than an agency or something that isn't fit for purpose. And why is it every time I do any research or any digging deeper into one of these stories that has involvement with family social services or, DCYF, whatever your state calls it, why are there always tons of stories like this? Why is it that states continue to put kids back with parents that don't care for them or assign children to workers who don't give a rat's ass? She had one job. A child welfare agency worker was accused of leaving a 3-year-old in a 140-degree car for 5 hours until he passed. An Alabama woman and state child care employee left a toddler inside a hot car until he unfortunately lost his life, police in the Yellowhammer state say. Keela Stanford, 54, stands accused of 1 count of manslaughter, according to Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. Now, a warrant was originally issued for her arrest on 1 count of being a person for hire responsible for a child under the age of 7 and leaving the child unattended in a motor vehicle in a manner that created a unreasonable risk of injury or harm. Now, the incident took the life of 3-year-old Conductress Snark Jr., a boy who was frequently under Stanford's care and supervision. This is a terrible tragedy, and it was completely avoidable and unnecessary, the DA's office has said. Our condolences go out to Conductress's family. Now, at the time of the incident, Stanford worked for the Covenant Services, a private company contracted out by Alabama's Department of Human Resources to take children to and from daycare, according to court records obtained by Birmingham-based Fox affiliate WBRC. So this woman's only job, if I'm reading this article correctly, if I'm comprehending facts and taking in information, was to take these children, these precious babies, to and from daycare. So her entire job, if I am understanding this correctly, is to make sure that a child was taken care of, not neglected, and not left in the car while she took them to and from preschool, which was the only thing she was supposed to be doing with, any kind of, ability to do so. Because I'm a little confused. Because I can get when people at McDonald's ask me if I want cheese on my hamburger. It's annoying, but they're not in charge of lives. And as picky as I am, I realize that I can, in fact, peel, processed cheese off my hamburger should it actually be an issue. This is a child. This shouldn't be hard. You have one job. Now, on July 22nd, KJ, as the boy was known, was found alone inside a car parked outside a house on Pine Tree Drive, authorities said. Now, it was determined that he had spent some 5 hours inside that vehicle from 12:30 p.m. 12:30, you were done with your job at 12:30 and you couldn't look in the back of your seat to see if there was still a baby in there, to 5:30 p.m. Unfortunately, first responders did try to render life-saving aid at the scene, but he was pronounced on the scene, the driveway outside of Stanford's home, by Birmingham Fire and Rescue. Now, Stanford was known to the family as a woman from Covenant who picked up KJ, a child in the foster care system, from the state and took him to his daycare appointments, according to his aunts. Now, KJ last saw his aunt in May, she told AL.com, and at the time she bought him inflatable pool toys and fed the toddler pizza. He was telling me, "Auntie, I love this," the aunt said. "I made his day that day, and unfortunately that was the last day I saw my nephew. It hurts. It hurts deeply because they failed him, and it makes me feel like we failed him as well." The Child Welfare Agency released a statement following KJ's death. "Please don't sue us. It's not our fault. We contracted." A child in DHR custody was being transported by a contract provider when the incident occurred. The provider has terminated their employee. Due to confidentiality, DHR cannot comment further regarding the identity of either the child or the exact circumstances. Now, in an earlier report, the WBRC provided a transcription of part of a phone call allegedly between Stanford and KJ's family after the tragedy. "I went to the daycare," the person identified as the former worker said, "and I got sidetracked. I stopped off, got something to eat, and when I came out, instead of going to the left to the daycare because I got called and they said I didn't have a case, I instantly said to myself, 'Oh, I'm done for the day. I'm going home.'" Now, I will say that they have done studies for this, and just a very small change in routine, especially for new parents. Now, I don't know about her particular situation, but for new parents, any change in your routine, any change in the way you do things in the morning can make you more likely to have one of these incidents. Now, I never had one of these, but I've had other things that my kids have done that, looking back, by the grace of God, we all survived their childhood. So, but this is ridiculous. This is her only job. The child's father interjects to how she could forget about his son, to which she repeatedly apologized and says she didn't mean to, and that there are not enough words to express how bad she feels. Later, another one of KJ's relatives said, "This baby died in a car. He suffocated. He didn't have no help, no nothing. You had a child safety lock on the door. You didn't think to look in the back seat?" To which the woman said to be Stanford replies, "No, ma'am, I did not. I wouldn't have killed no child." Now, the little boy's father last saw him alive that morning during a scheduled visitation at Department of Human Resources office in Bessemer, a suburb of Birmingham, located about 19 miles southwest of Birmingham. Now, words can't even express how I feel right now, the father told TV, and TV stations and local reporters. "As soon as I leave my son, the first thing he says is, 'Daddy, I want to go with you.' He says that every time, and it really hurts." Now, on Friday, the family held a press and vigil conference in KJ's honor. G. Courtney French, the family's attorney, addressed the allegations against the since-fired daycare transporter, according to Birmingham-based ABC affiliate WBMA. She rode around for over an hour from 11:30 to 12:30 with KJ in the back seat, and then drove back to her home where she said she forgot he was in the car. She had one job to do, and that was to pick KJ up. Now, French elaborated on the incident in comments to KL.com. "This is a parent's worst nightmare. This tragedy was preventable. Based on preliminary investigations, the interior temperature of the car where he was trapped likely exceeded 140 degrees. Now, the defendant was arrested on Friday morning, but quickly released after posting $30,000 bond. Her first court appearance was on Monday, which she missed. A new hearing will now be scheduled in September. And she didn't even show up to her hearing. Like, at what point, Lord Chippy, just slowly and on repeat? Because I can't. Just know. It's one thing, again, to screw up at any other job, but you have kids in your care, and we hold you to a higher standard. We just do. Well, I mean, I don't know if this next story is karma or Hakuna Matata. Is it the circle of life or revenge of Cecil the lion? I don't know. You take your pick. A millionaire Texas rancher was fatally gored by a buffalo during a South African hunting trip. That's a necklace of ducks. I didn't know that one could make a duckless, if you will. A millionaire Texas ranch realtor was gored to death by a massive buffalo that he was stalking while on a hunting trip in South Africa, according to reports. Now, Asher Watkins, 52, was tracking a 1.3-ton Cape buffalo in Limpopo on Sunday when the beast charged at him, instantly killing him. Conrad and Varmak Safari, which organized the trip, had basically told multiple outlets. Now, the buffalo was not wounded, the safari said. The buffalo was not wounded. I'm not trying to laugh, but it just doesn't seem like something I would have just put there as a sentence. It is with deep sadness and heavy hearts that we confirm the tragic death of our client and friend Asher Watkins from the U.S., the safari company said in a statement to Metro. He was tracking it together with one of our professional hunters and another one of our trackers. This devastating incident is just tragic, and our hearts go out to his loved one. Now, Watkins' mother, Gwen, and his stepfather and brother Amand were waiting for him at the Safari Lodge when the brutal incident unfolded. Now, he was the head of Watkins Ranch Group, a successful brokerage company that sells multi-million-dollar ranches in Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. Well, that's why I don't know him. I only know about ranches in Indiana. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know any multi-million, bajillion-dollar ranch people. I mean, I'm not knocking it. It's just not my people's. We're more of the great value people, the people of great value. Now, the affluent rancher was active in the Dallas Safari Club and actively and avidly hunted birds and other wildlife, according to social media posts where he boasted about his hunts. Watkins was raised in Dallas, where he worked on his family's hunting and cattle ranch. What's a hunting ranch? Do you like keep bobcats there too? What do you hunt? Like just your steak? I am confused. Or maybe deer? Like, do you have like separate deer and cow herd? His ex-wife Courtney and their teenage daughter Savannah were also notified of his passing. This photo is from another time, another chapter of our lives, but that will always be part of our daughter's story, Courtney wrote alongside an old photo of their daughter that has since been deleted. We're in a state of shock, and our heartbreak, is very fresh, trying to process not just the loss, but the complexity that comes with it. Now, Cape buffalo can weigh up to 2,000 pounds and reach the height of 5.5 feet at the shoulder, according to wildlife expert. Now, the species is notoriously ill-tempered, especially when wounded. Yeah, that's why you should hunt. Well, I mean, they sound like really asshole cows, but I'm not going to go take care of them, not without Patton behind me. I mean, really. Now, in a good story, because sometimes we need a story that reminds us that humanity is still good and still worth, there are more good people than bad. A bride and groom were devastated after their wedding venue was vandalized, but what happened next brought them to happy tears. So I figure we'll end on a good story, or second to last on a good story. Bride and groom Carson and Travis Snyder excitedly arrived at their venue on their wedding day only to discover a shocking scene of devastation. Look at this. Who the hell does this to someone's wedding venue unless an ex? I mean, let's be real. That is some rage right there. After the Montana couple had successfully and carefully set up for their June 28th celebration at the White Sulphur Springs venue, it was vandalized. Tables were overturned, wine bottles were shattered, decorations were destroyed. Vandals even cut extension cords and emptied propane tanks. There were 12 clam bottles just opened up and dumped on the floor. Even chalkboard signs were cut in half, Carson told the outlet. We had those troughs outside. One was full of pop and one was full of beer. They went through and stabbed every single can that was in there. Someone was dedicated to ruining this. With everything destroyed, the Snyders were left wondering how they could salvage their wedding plans when something incredible happened. The local community got word of vandalism and got together to save the day. Several businesses offered much-needed supplies. The Edith Hotel volunteered to wash linens and tablecloths for the couple, while also gathering picture frames and other decorations to replace those that were destroyed. We felt so bad, Mac Bilberry, who works at the hotel's front desk, told KTVQ. I called my manager and I was like, what can we do? What can we pull together? We just laid out a table in one of our rooms and laid out everything they could take and said, take what you want. Bar 47 collected shot glasses. Everyone kind of had something they could contribute, and we were texting people, the bar manager Amber Coburn said. Now employees at a local grocery station pitched in by printing out new photos for the couple, and customers that were around as this overheard what happened and wanted to help out too. I guess there were a couple people who donated to our honeymoon fund. They were listening to our story. And miraculously, just in time for the ceremony that afternoon, the venue looked picture perfect with no signs remaining of the vandalism, and Travis and Carson were able to move forward with their married life and their wedding. When we came down for everything, it was like it never happened, Travis recalled, with Carson adding, it was happy tears at that point. And I'm so glad. Again, there's a lot of ugly and a lot of stupid, and usually I do a fair bit of, delivering the news on both said subjects, but there's a lot of stories like this that we just don't hear because they're not glitzy or glamorous. They're just a bunch of people getting together, not expecting anything back and helping each other. Now, for the newlyweds, the experience taught them a meaningful lesson that they will surely carry into their married life. Don't let stuff ruin your day because at the end of the day, love wins, Carson told KTVQ. Seriously, love won that day, and love is all that matters. Now, according to the outlet, the Meagher County Sheriff's Office is still investigating the vandalism, and no arrests have been made at this time. So I'm glad they got to, start their marriage off right, but I'm going to need you both to look at your exes. Because that's a whole lot of damage and a whole lot of spite. And I'm going to go ahead and behavior profile angry, vengeful woman, okay, with crazy eyebrows from the early aughts, those pencil thin things. Like, I don't mean to say that I'm a behavioral analyst, but I know crazy woman when I sniff it. And that looks like a whole hell of a lot of crazy, damn spiteful, vengeful woman right there. I mean, especially with the boards being hacked through too. So I'm just saying, y'all need to be looking for a woman with some crazy, crazy eyebrows. A mother described pure terror in Disney World for a real reason other than, characters like me, as Disney World's ferry slammed into a dock at full speed. A recent Walt Disney World guest is recounting the moment her ferry boat crashed into a dock at full speed. Deanna D., who has requested to be identified with an abbreviated last name for privacy reasons, was visiting the Magic Kingdom park with her husband and two daughters aged 7 and 10 on Wednesday, July 30th. The family stuck around until the park closed to see the nighttime parade, but cast members informed the guests that it would be canceled due to impending rain. Now, according to Deanna, staff directed guests out of the park and recommended either using the monorail or ferry boats to get back to the transportation and ticket center where they had parked. Now, the family already had taken the monorail, so they decided they were going to take the ferry out of the park. On board, the family split up, with Deanna taking one daughter up to the upper deck while her husband and other daughter stayed down below. Although it was both dark and rainy, Deanna claims they were still able to see the incoming transit hub as they motored across Seven Seas Lagoon. Now, as the boat was making its approach, Deanna kept her daughter seated while she stood up, but then the unexpected happened. The boat was hit full speed, and I mean, with full speed, it went full through this barrier, Deanna told the people. She described feeling, just pure terror. It was like being on the freaking Titanic. People were thinking the boat was going to go down. A pregnant woman fell down. There were kids in the front of the boat when it happened that got crushed into the railing. Deanna claims that there was no warning before passengers were jolted forward and no response from crew afterwards. There was absolutely nothing said, no apologies or anything. Instead, Deanna says that her and the other passengers on the boat were left to help each other to safety. One woman hugged and comforted Deanna's daughter during the entire ordeal. I had a small child literally screaming because she was scared, and she wasn't hurt, but she was just terrified. As a parent, it sends you into fight or flight mode. I'm still shaking thinking about it. Now, after the family was able to get off the boat, she remembers seeing police cars everywhere and a handful of ambulances. She said emergency services personnel from the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District and Orange and Osceola counties were on site. Now, representatives for the Orange County Fire and Rescue Department and Osceola Fire Rescue confirmed to people that officials did respond to an incident as part of a mutual aid agreement with CFTOD, or Walt Disney World's sort of jurisdiction. And the district did not respond to people's request for a comment. Now, while shaken, the family still visited Animal Kingdom the following day for their final day in the parks. So it seemed like they weren't terribly injured. I do wonder if this is going to, be something that is going to be further investigated to see what caused this and what sort of regulations. Disney's somewhat on thin ice with kind of all of the regulations and violations that they had as they ran their own little fiefdom. As far as not keeping up with safety and emergency sort of institutions like fire and EMS, as far as their population and guest demands, they were not keeping up with standard sort of quotas and operating procedures that other places or other localities would be required to keep at certain levels. If they were, an actual governmental organization. So yeah, Disney is just not having a great day. And after, Epic World opened, I don't know. I don't know about this. I don't know about you guys, but this just made me laugh. Scarlett Johansson is scaring wolves, but it's for a good reason. The USDA is using a marriage story scene with, Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver yelling at each other and dealing with divorce and family drama to teach wolves that humans are essentially dicks. I mean, to be fair, Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver in that movie taught me that humans were dicks too. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is using an argument scene from the 2019 film Marriage Story to scare wolves away from farms along the West Coast. I mean, Amber Heard wasn't available anywhere. My dog stepped on a bee. The wolves are just out of there. Hell, cheetahs. Usain Bolt is running out of there. The scene in which the estranged couple, played by Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver, loudly and intensely vent their frustrations is among several audio clips being used by the USDA to scare wolves away from livestock farms. I needed the wolves to respond and know that humans are bad. Paul Wolf, USDA district supervisor in Oregon, told the Wall Street Journal. Now, drones are being used to blast the audio, but have also been playing songs including AC/DC's Thunderstruck and Five Finger Death Punch's Blue on Black, as well as sound effects like fireworks and gunshots. Marriage Story, directed by Noah Baumbach, was nominated for 6 Oscars and at the 2020 Academy Award. I mean, there you go. I'm just love that they're terrifying wolves and teaching them that humans are assholes. And what better dicks than Hollywood to teach them that? Hollywood, finally fit for purpose, scaring livestock and Mo for generations. I like this. That has been your Mornings with Mo. Today, remember, tomorrow we are hanging out with Shizzy and possibly Volstorm for Friday. And it's going to be the wrap up. Who is going to snort, milk up their nose? Who is going to have the weirdest article? And will we ever get the, smoking gun, this match the perpetrator with their crime and or implement of violence? Right. Well, if you tune in tomorrow on Friday at normal time, slightly longer show, you guys will find out all of the answers to these questions. It's my mission every week to make someone snort. Ski Mask Andy, this is just sort of a potpourri channel. While I do cover trials as I am able, I do have 6 children. This is one of my more regular shows. I also do short videos from this news out broadcast that I do, but I will be getting more back into covering trials in a snarky way. It's not everyone's cup of tea. I don't expect it to be everyone. But if you like, watching trials at our own pace on the Petty Express, you can come aboard. So I guess sort of, yes, no, maybe. It definitely wants to be a true crime channel, and now that the kiddos are officially back in school, expect to see more stuff on the regular and the craft channel going up next week. I do have to get off of here now, so Mr. Mo can do the loud constructionology that will get a new toilet installed. Again, I don't know what kind of Harry Potter / micro magic he needs to use, but I'm going to go help him by being, absolutely out of the way. Remember, as always, you guys, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire, because we gotta scare some wolves out there. Show them that humans are a-holes. Bye, you guys.